Mother Blessing. Every power, blessing, like child, super blessings.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Living Shakti interview series. It is such a blessing to be here and to be interviewing another disciple follower of Ma Adishakti as part of the Navratri celebrations. And it is my pleasure to introduce Katyayani Betha, who I will be speaking to tonight. Welcome, Katyayani.
Greetings. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. If you can you just briefly introduce yourself to the listeners?
Sure. Katyayani Betha. Guru Ma named me that in 2016. I live on the Northern California coast, originally from Southwestern Ohio. I'm a certified classical feng shui practitioner, mother of 2 adult children, and I'm also a natural health educator, flora conscious culinary creator, a vocalist, songwriter, author, and pracharak for Guru Ma.
Wonderful. You have a lot of talents in you, which is really awesome and amazing. And I'm wondering if you can tell us more about how you came to know Ma Adishakti.
Well, I'm a Sant Thakar Singh initiate. I was initiated by him in 2004. And then he left his body a year after that in 2005, at which time he introduced Sant Baljit Singh. And then a couple years after that, Sant Baljit Singh introduced Ma to all of us all over the world. That was a very big mission with millions of people all over the world paying attention. And we were all just so ecstatic, I know you were too, at the introduction of this mother power. The feminine energy was something that's always seemed to be a little missing in a lot of the different paths and traditions. And so she was just radiant and so beautiful, so much love and light. You could just feel it coming through the screen when we saw her and in her eyes and everything. So, and then I have a friend who became closer to her and became one of her pracharak. And I had gone to a meditation retreat in Southern Oregon. And some people were talking about Guru Ma. And so I hadn't been in contact with that friend in a long time. So I called him up and I was wondering what was going on with her. And he told me, and over the next few weeks or maybe a month, I learned more and more and decided that I wanted to receive her initiation too, which really supported and embellished everything I was already doing. I always tell people she's like the rocket fuel. She's like the Shakti power. You know, we need consciousness and we need energy. Those are the 2 forces of creation. And if you're always just going for the consciousness, but you don't have the energy to quite do it, you're not going to quite get there. We need both. We need both of those aspects to really progress. And I am so glad she gave us some extra practices so that we can cultivate that Shakti, that energy, so that when we meditate, we can achieve that consciousness so much more easily. And so that's how I came to meet her, and a little bit also about what she's done for me.
Hmm. Well, that's beautiful. Yes, I definitely remember when Sant Baljit Singh introduced Ma to the world, and how much power and how much joy there was to meet her. So it's definitely a huge blessing for me to be able to sit here today and to be able to doing this series for Ma. Can you tell us more about the living Shakti? How does the living Shakti manifest in your life or inside your soul? You know, how do you know it's there and how do you feel it?
Well, you know, Shakti is what's running everything. We could feel everything all the time. We can, if we're in tune with ourselves, we can feel if we're depleted or if we're charged. And so it's very, very, very practical. It's like if you are charged, you have the energy to think more clearly. You have the energy to be who you really are. We are finite bodies, but we are infinite. We are infinite souls in these finite bodies. And we have to have a body in order to meditate, in order to achieve our goals. And so we need to be able to keep that body charged so that we can use our bodies as the tools that they were given to us for, to achieve what we're here to do, whether that's worldly endeavors or spiritual endeavors, merging back with the source of our life so that we can choose more of what we do, not only in this lifetime, but in after this lifetime. We can, when we have the consciousness, we can make the choices that produce the results that we want to see manifest in our life now and in the future, so that we're not just, you know, swaying with the wind with whatever happens to happen. We have more of where we can merge our will with the will of God. And so how that manifests is that, you know, I've made more progress in 1 year from Ma's help and the extra practices she's given me to cultivate my energy and to be able to achieve what we all want to achieve through meditation than I have the entire 10 years I meditated before that. So she really is like rocket fuel. That's the way I always say it. So yeah, it manifests in so many different ways. It heals my body, guides me, gives me insight, to say the least. Insight isn't even the word. So yeah, just so many countless ways. I could talk about that all night long and longer, much longer.
Yeah, that's blessed. One of the things that Ma speaks about is the enlightenment, the coming of the enlightenment age. And I'm wondering if you can talk more about what does the enlightenment age mean to you, and what are some of your hopes and dreams and contributions to bring in, you know, this age into our world?
Yeah, well, that's something I've looked at for a long time before I ever got connected with any of these meditation practices, just from influences I had from a very young age, like 18 years old. I was very blessed to come in contact with other groups of people who were along those lines, where we all, you could just feel and see. And I had experiences too that I was blessed to have, where my consciousness was expanded, and I could feel and see very clearly that there was something very important, a transition happening on the planet right now. And it's a very gradual process, but it was happening. And I made it my main goal to make sure that I wanted to be on the creative side of that. Like, I wanted to make sure that I was gonna be, and everyone I love and was connected to, that was gonna be in the best spot for the transition that was happening on the planet. So, and I then learned about the precession of equinoxes and the different ages that the planet goes through, and that it's connected to where we are in relation to where we are on the earth in relation to the center of our galaxy, and how much light we're exposed to coming from the center of the galaxy, and how in part of that cycle we're asleep in consciousness on the earth in a way, and in another part we're waking up, and it's a cycle that always moves forward. So even though we go through darker periods of history, it's like we're always moving toward the center of our galaxy. It's not going to quite be as dark the next time we go through that dark part of the cycle. And so we are in a very transitional time where we're coming out of that darker part. And no matter what, no matter what's happening on the planet or how challenging things seem to be at times, in nature, we are coming out of that dark phase. It can't be stopped. Light is spreading everywhere. And so, and just that Ma manifested on this earth plane in this time, almost 20 years ago exactly, Adi Shakti power manifested on this earth plane through her. It's just so empowering. And I love to share this vision with others, because so many people are feeling, you know, heavy about the challenging things that are going on the planet. But nature and the power that created our bodies, look how, you know, how complex, like even just an eyeball is. It's like that power is looking out for everybody and everything. And there are powers that are here to assist us and here to bless us. And we just need to make sure that we are staying in the currents of creation so that we don't get caught up in the torrents of destruction. And that has to do with doing what helps, not doing what hurts. It's very, very basic stuff. So, so yeah, that's what it means to me. And I firmly believe that we need to focus on what we want to create here on the planet. We need to unite, and we all each have our different gifts. We each have a different important part, and we need to bring them all together. And then we can create what we want to see, what we want. And having that consciousness and cultivating the energy, we'll know what to do. And these practices going within and, you know, tapping into that limitless, expansive energy that created everything and that sustains everything and that transforms everything when needed, that it's limitless. It's just absolutely limitless. And so we have full power to create what we want. And we're not even creating it. Nature, the source of life, it's being created through us. So we just do our best to cultivate our energy and have the consciousness and awareness to make the right choices so that we can manifest what we actually want instead of getting caught up in things that we don't want to be caught up in. And then that will spread more and more, and it'll happen naturally. And so that's basically what it means to me. And I'm actually getting involved in some other very practical things where we are creating communities, not communes or anything like that, but just, you know, creating, to make it short, creating what we want to see. We need practical life support systems too on this planet, in addition to everything else I'm talking about. So I'm excited to be involved with things like that, the Ubuntu Liberation Movement, and One Small Town Strategy. That's what I'm all about getting involved in as well. So I feel like, you know, we come together, we can practically create what we want. There is going to be a golden age where there's not as much suffering. There's so much needless suffering that goes on just because things aren't structured correctly. We need it to be structured in a right way so that, you know, so that it supports life, you know, very, very basic stuff.
Yes. Yes. Let there be light everywhere throughout the earth and the universe.
Yes, Shakti. Love is the strong power.
Yeah. So I know that you have a devotional video that we're going to watch in just a minute. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about the video?
Well, this is a recording of a short clip of a song I wrote and performed at a festival with a friend a while back. So a Guru Ma named me Katyayani, and one of the things that Katyayani that she named me after is all about is upholding Dharma and the natural laws of creation. And I found that very interesting because I've been writing songs about the natural laws of creation for like 20 years. So that's what this song is about, the natural laws of creation, paths to higher elevations, which the natural laws of creation are basically making the choices that create good instead of causing harm. And that's all it comes down to, really.
Beautiful. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I also just want to remind folks that the new book from Ma, Living Shakti, is available on Amazon. So you can order it and find it there. And it's really amazing. So I hope that you'll be able to do that. And let's watch Katyayani's devotional video.
Don't want nothing but ivory sensation. You feel it, fill in the equation. Irie itemplation. Jah is the creator, chant every call the nations. We're breaking down the bad vibrations. Who feels it, knows it, so feels the sensation. Irie eye vibration. The natural laws of creation are not limitations. They are paths to higher elevation. The natural laws of creation are not limitations. They are paths to higher elevation. Feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, so good, so good. In my neighborhood, feeling good, feeling strong, nothing's wrong. We all get along in my neighborhood, in my neighborhood. Jah is bringing in a higher elevation. Jah love is our medication. Jah shall inherit all the nations, all the nations, all the nations. Jah is love, and I are living in positive vibration. Positive vibration. natural laws of creation are not limitations.